Well, first of all, January the 19th, 1968 was the day that I had the near-death experience. Next week, it will be 40 years. Hard to believe. And I remember it so clearly. And it's funny because I don't talk about this to a lot of people. But I remember exactly what happened. It's like a movie that doesn't stop playing. You just always remember it. And I was only 20 years old. It was a Friday morning. I was leaving the house. I left the house to go to work. I was excited because I was meeting my uncle for dinner after work, and I worked downtown. And so, it's like you're in a good mood. You're not thinking it's dreadful. Oh, it's cold, but I had my good coat on, so I felt good. And I remember walking to the corner, and I had to cross the street to catch the bus. And I got to the corner, and I stepped off the curb, and I stood there, and there was a car parked a little bit too close to the corner. And I started to put my head out, and a car went by very quickly. And my thought at that moment was, wow, somebody could get hurt or hit by a car. That's what, I didn't think me, but I thought somebody could. And so I waited, and the traffic let up, and I crossed halfway, and I was standing in the middle of the street, and the last thing I saw was a bus going past me. Not the whole bus. I remember half of the bus went past, and everything went black. And apparently I was, the car that hit me threw me in the air, and I landed on his hood and then on the ground. Okay, fortunately nobody else ran me over. But that's what I heard about afterwards, okay? Another thing, fortunately I didn't get to see that. But the next thing I did see was the three figures, and they were the traditional hooded figures. And fortunately, because when I was younger, I was psychic, none of this scared me. It was like, oh, okay, a new adventure. So the three hooded individuals, people, were there. I didn't see their faces, but they spoke to me, and they said, you have a choice to make. Do you want to come with us, or do you want to go back to Earth? And I thought, well, let me think. Okay. Let me think. Then I said, can I ask a question? Because I thought, well, I want to make sure I've got a little bit more of the information before I start signing up one way or the other, It's like, all right. So I said, well, will things be better if I go back to Earth? Because if they're going to get worse or be the same or worse, then, I'll go with you. And they said, no, things will get better. I said, oh, now you're sure things are going to get better? They said, yes, things will get better. And I said, okay, then I'll go back. And then the next thing I remember, I was in an ambulance, and they had the big oxygen mask on my face. And I tried pushing it off. Okay, and the guys in the ambulance, they said, oh no, don't do that. We're trying to keep you alive. And I said, don't worry about that. That's already been decided. I'll be alive. Okay? I'll be alive. Don't worry about that. So, and they look at me like, yeah, put the mask back on. So, I'm telling them, And then, you have these periods of you're awake, you're not awake, it's black, it's light again. And then I was in the emergency room. They kept dropping me on the table. And I thought, oh, this isn't good. And then I said, I thought things were going to get better. And the nurse is going, well, we're trying to make them better. I said, no, this is worse. And the other thing is, because I had my good coat on that day, I would not talk to them until I saw my coat. I needed to see how much damage was on that coat, okay? I saved a long time for that coat. And they're trying to get my name. Is this your name? Is this your, I wasn't worried about my purse, I was worried about my coat, okay? And so then, then the odyssey of being in the hospital, that's an odyssey in itself, because I figure, no offense to the hospital, but they try to kill you. I mean, they really, the car didn't do it, so we're gonna finish the job, okay? It's giving you the wrong medicine, doing what they did, a bone marrow, scraping on me, and it turned out it was the wrong medicine they gave me, and that's why I was running a fever, and I mean, just one thing after another. So, after a month, I was ready to run out of there. I don't care if I have a broken leg, cracked pelvic, somehow I'm getting out of here. And believe it or not, some people, after this happened, first of all, you don't talk to a lot of people about this because it's something private. It is a reawakening, okay? But all of a sudden you start to look back and you start to think, did I bring this on by thinking somebody could get hit? And then I thought, no, it was a warning to me that I should be more careful. And then my grandmother reminded me, when I was a little girl, I lived with her. And by the time I was 3, I was reading the newspaper, because Grandma read the newspaper, so I read the newspaper with her. And she was teaching me to count, and I would only count to 20. And I would say, there's no more numbers for me after 20. And she would say, well, that she's this age, and that my mother's, another age, everybody's more than 20. And I just was firm that there's no numbers for me after 20. So, then I start to think, well, maybe I decided to come into this lifetime and at age 20 decide whether I'm going to stay or go. And maybe that was the little trapdoor, and I could stay or go. But it was interesting. Everybody in the family remembered that, that I was so adamant of just counting to 20. And then after you finally get out of the hospital, okay, because, again, you're fighting for your life. And the one thing that I have to say that helped me tremendously was anger, okay? Because I was angry I was in a bed. Why am I in this bed? The guy that hit me, he's going to work, and I'm in the bed, okay? So I was angry, but that anger motivated me and kept me moving. So sometimes people say, oh, anger isn't good. Well, in my case, it worked out very, very well. It was the most helpful thing that just kept me going. And afterwards, for me, it was almost instant that things started happening, changes started happening. Psychologically, I was a little bit quieter, and suddenly I was fearless. I wasn't afraid of anything. I faced death, didn't die. Hey, I'm invincible. That's kind of, when you're 20, that's what you think, is, oh, I can do anything. And the thing is, nothing scared me, I mean, as far as if there was a challenge, I could do better, or I could get a certain job, I felt, oh, sure, why not? So I always tried to push myself a little bit more. Where before, if